Hey everyone, welcome back to Autonomy Farms, and today we're going to be getting into a new video. And before we get into the video, please go on and click the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Let's go on and get into the video. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another Wildwoods Honeybee Farms Beekeeping podcast. My name is Grayson, if you don't know, and thank you all so much for joining in tonight in this wonderful Monday evening. As you can see, I'm outside. Today was actually a very, very nice day. I was kind of surprised with how it's like. I think it was around 90 degrees, but it was really, really nice. So I figured it'd probably be good to do it out here. I think I only did it out here once this year, so I wanted to do it again. Nice little sunset in the back, so it should be pretty. But anyway, thank you all for joining in. If y'all would, on y'all's way in, make sure to click that thumbs up. It's free, easy, and if YouTube, if you click the like button, it gets the video out to more people, I think. So if you click that like button, it's really easy, and it really does help the live stream out really, really good. So thank you all. So first, Randy got in here in the first, so congratulations. Excuse me. Good evening, Mike, Tim, and Hannah, Gunline Bees down there in Mobile, Alabama. Thanks for checking in. We have Russell Amon. How you doing, Russell? Hey, Richard. So tonight, if y'all see on the title, September Tips is kind of my main topic for tonight. I do have a multiple of different things to discuss, like updates and things like that, which we'll get into later after the presentation. So I guess without further ado, I guess we might as well go ahead and get into tonight's, study or whatever. I don't know the presentation. Let's see here. There we go. This won't be long, so just hang in there. It won't be too long, and then we'll get into questions. So if you have a question, feel free to put that in. And also, by the way, if you would, it's free and easy. If you would just go ahead and share this live stream out, let's see if we can get more people in here to see if we can help them out in any way. And another thing I would like to mention is that these tips usually go for everybody in the United States, but you do have to keep in mind that there are different climates, different temperatures, different seasons. So don't take everything specific. Do what works for you. If you already have a plan in place, for September and going into fall, stick with it if it works for you. It's just for anybody who's might need some tips or whatever. It's kind of for those people. So, number one, which is important, and as you know, it ain't September yet, but it's pretty much close, and I won't be doing my live stream till September 8th. I think that's September 8th, so might as well go ahead and do it now. So number one is going to be assess colony strength, is checking the numbers of your colony. You need to check population, brood pattern, the queen health. Brood pattern is pretty big because whenever you're going into fall, you're kind of getting ready for winter, because before we know it, winter is coming. It's around the curve before we know it. We're already getting close to fall, and it seems like just yesterday that we just got into spring. So time flies by fast. We need to take action, make sure we have everything prepared, make sure we have things that we know we want to do, set, make sure we're being proactive and intentional. So you may be wondering, how do you do that? So number one is opening the colony, inspecting, look for solid brood patterns. If you see spotty brood patterns, a good chance that is not a good queen. But what I see a lot of newer beekeepers get the mistake of is, even if they'll look at one frame of a spotty brood pattern and ultimately think that is a terrible queen. And there's a good chance it isn't. You have to go deep into each brood frame and examine it really, really closely, because there's a good amount of chances that that queen is just laying in a nice, beautiful sheet of brood, but you came in at a time where those baby bees were emerging and they are starting to pack those cells with pollen or nectar. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for your queen health. Look at multiple frames. Look at multiple brood patterns. Make sure everything lines up. Make sure the queen is present and laying. Make sure you have a laying queen. You need a laying queen to get through fall and going into winter and get through winter. Make sure she's present. You do also need to estimate the colony size. Now, for each person, each state, each county, or whatever, wherever you live, it's always going to be different. You're going to have a different standard going into winter. I have a different standard than Ian Stepler does in Canada. What I'm talking about standard is how big the hive must be in order to survive. You don't have to have it. 8 to 10 is probably what would be advised. Excuse me, I'm starting to choke. At least 8 to 10 frames of bees for winter survival in a double deep setup. But I've overwintered bees with 5 frames in a 5-frame nuke, 2 frames. I actually have a colony out there in my bee yard right now that is a double deep. No, it's a double deep and a super. One deep has brood, a laying queen, all the above, and on top, the second deep has nothing but honey. Well, I don't really know right now. I'd have to check. The last time I checked, nothing but honey, and then super, nothing but honey. But before we continue on, I want to let y'all know that if y'all are leaving questions or comments or anything like that, talking to each other, don't take it that I'm ignoring you, because I'm definitely ain't. But I'm not on the StreamYard page. I'm on a different page looking at this presentation. So I'm not looking at the comments, but I'll keep up with it. So just keep that in mind, so you know. But please do put some questions in there. I do appreciate that. And if a colony, a beehive is weak, you probably do need to consider combining it with a stronger one. And I actually have hands-on experience with this. I actually had 2 hives that I had, and one, can't remember if it was queenless or if it did have a queen. I believe it was queenless. I believe it lost a queen, unfortunately, but another one did have a queen. So what I ended up doing was combining both of those colonies up, and that one was actually the one I'm talking about just a second ago. That 2-frame colony that came out of winter, surprisingly to me, I kept feed on them, and barely took me a lot to get them through winter because they were so small. They didn't cost me a whole lot of money with feed, maybe a gallon worth of sugar, and that's it. And maybe not even that much. I just gave them a little bit of excess, and they had what they needed to get through winter. I was pretty surprised. But same one, they overwintered on 2 frames, but I actually combined 2 colonies with that. So it survived winter, and it's a good idea to combine if they are weak. Of course, this is a common one. I mean, you guys knew this was coming. feed the bees. I mean, it's important to keep some food on there. So you want to first target to build up your bees, and building up bees requires pollen coming in your hive and some nectar. So right now, I actually have plenty of pollen. Nothing but pollen is coming in. It's unbelievable, but no nectar. So I've been doing some open feeding. So if you're in a derf, you have to do that. But when you're getting into fall, if you want to get those bees to rear some brood, you can start out with 1-to-1 sugar water, 1-to-1 sugar syrup, with some additives if you like. Put that on the colony for a couple weeks. Now remember, it depends on where you're at. I can't speak for you. I'm just kind of speaking for me and for most people down here, but I really can't speak for you. Y'all let me know what your process is. I really don't know, because I really do believe it really depends on climate and temperature. I really do. I really think that's really what it boils down to, for me at least. So then you can also feed 2-to-1 sugar syrup, 2 cups sugar, 1 cup water, to build winter reserves. So these are two different things. 1-to-1 is to get those bees to build up, to get them to rear brood, and 2-to-1, bees usually like to store 2-to-1 sugar syrup faster than 1-to-1. So that's good for getting those winter reserves if they don't have it right now. So 2-to-1. You also do want to, if you don't have pollen coming in, and if you don't know, pollen is the main reason, a big reason at least, why bees brood up this time of the year. It's pollen. So you do want to put some pollen substitute if natural forage isn't out there, if it's scarce. And then once you're in winter, or late fall, whenever you have cold snaps or whatever, you do kind of want to transition into candy boards or fondant, for emergency feeding, just in case they run out. I think I just saw a bee. I don't know if it was a honeybee, but a bumblebee, but some type of bee. I guess these bees are kind of catching on what's going on here. So I actually don't think I meant for, if y'all see on the bottom there, tips for preventing robbing while feeding. I don't think that was supposed to be there. I was kind of in a rush to make this, so that's not meant to be there. Another one you expected, I'm sure you probably did. If you're trying to get your bees ready for winter, you expect this: monitor and control varroa mites. Here, I'm gonna be honest. I do not really monitor, or not. Let's not say monitor. I do. I just don't test as much. I don't. The alcohol washes. I just don't really do it as much. I'll be honest. I've talked about it in my videos a couple times before. Might get some heat for it, but I guess every beekeeper do what they want to do, keep their bees the way they would like to keep them. That's kind of my mojo. It's just to let the beekeepers do exactly the way they want to do if they have a personal preference for something. So I don't really test as much, but I do plan to test a couple colonies just to kind of see where my numbers are. But I do treat. So if you do consider or do the washes testing for varroa mites, you can test for mite levels and treat if above threshold. Perform an alcohol wash or a sugar shake. A sugar shake is pretty kind of similar to an alcohol wash. It just doesn't kill the bees, but it does impact their lifespan. And you usually do that on about 300 bees. The treatment threshold is 2 to 3%, 6 non-mites per 300 bees. Yeah, because if you did 100 bees, and if there's 3 mites on 100 bees, that'd be a 3% infestation. So, that's kind of the math there. You can probably do it on 100 bees. If it's above, 2 to 3%, it might be wise to treat. Appropriate treatments. There's a whole bunch of them. I'm not going to tell you what to use, or anything like that. You pick what you want to pick. There's formic acid. That's the active ingredient in Formic Pro. I think it does work with honey supers on. Penetrates the brood. Either way, I'd still advise you to take your supers off if you're going to treat, but some things do allow you to keep the supers on. At least that's what the label says. Oxalic acid, dribble, or vaporization is really good whenever you don't have any brood in your colony. So during winter, it's probably a good time to do it, or even in fall. It just depends on when you go broodless in your area. And then thymol which is the active ingredient in Apigard. I've used Apigard before, not really sold on it yet for me. I was just kind of skeptical to use it this year because last year, I don't know if it's coincidence, might be nothing, might be just me thinking or whatever, but could be. I lost a couple of queens last year, multiple queens for some weird reason, and it was right when I treated with Apigard. So I talked with some beekeepers about it, and they said that they actually kind of heard the same things from other people. So I guess I must not be going crazy or anything. But yeah, always follow the label, the directions, and rotate treatments to avoid resistance. So while we pause here, I see we have about 14 folks in here tonight. Thank you all so much for joining in tonight. If y'all would, smash that like button if y'all would. Like I said earlier, it helps the algorithm push the videos out, and it really does help. Again, if you are new in here and you didn't hear me earlier, not trying to ignore y'all whatsoever. I'm just looking right at this. I'm on a different tab, so I just can't really see the comments. I can't really see what y'all are saying. So I will go back through and make sure I didn't miss any questions. You can put questions in there if you would like. Small hive beetles, which is pretty common in the southeastern United States. So what to do? Reduce small hive beetle populations before winter. You want to do that before winter. How to do it? Keep colonies strong. The main reason why some beekeepers have bad problems with these beetles is having weak colonies. I experienced that too. I kept weak colonies and they got overrun with beetles. I remember it was terrible. And it was all slimy everywhere. It was gross. How they get in there and all, but just watch out for them. You want to use beetle traps, beetle blasters, oil traps, Swiffer sheets. Those are some good options. Keep apiary in sunny areas with dry soil. That's just on there because that's pretty much the basic what everybody says. I put it on there just because I figured it's probably something that most beekeepers would advise, would do. Beetles don't like the sun. I've talked about that before, and I do think that it's true to some extent, but I think it's more the soil, the sun, drying out that soil, because those beetles don't like dry soil. I don't think it's just because that heat comes down and the beetles don't like it. I mean, it could be true, but I really think it's really about the soil. So yeah, do keep your apiary in sunny areas. But the big issue is having moist, very wet and moist soil. That's the big problem. You do want to avoid leaving too much space. You don't want to give weak colonies extra supers if they don't need it. You need to keep them where they need to be. Keep them, do what they need, but just don't overdo it. Don't put too much stuff on there that they won't use. Protect your colonies from other predators. This is number 5, the number 5th tip. So how do you protect? Well, if you're worried about mouse, bears, if you're in bear country, you first want to start out, put on some mouse guards or entrance reducer in fall to prevent those mice to go into your colony in winter. Just prepping up for winter, because in winter those mice will get in your colonies. They will. You want to raise hives on stands to prevent skunks and raccoons. And then this also goes with skunks and raccoons. You probably do want to use some electric fencing if you are in bear country, which I'm not in bear country, so I don't really care about that. But if you're somewhere where you have a lot of bears, bears like beehives. They like honey. They'll destroy your colonies within a couple minutes. So you do want to keep some electric fence to protect your colonies, because it's going to damage your apiary, and it's going to, if you want to rebuild from that, it's going to cost you some money to buy more nukes or more time to grow your apiary. So just make sure to put some fence around. It can be important if you are in bear country, that is. You want to keep your grass and brush trimmed around hives. I've done this ever since I've been a beekeeper, trimming around your hives, keep that grass low, not allowing easy access for ants to climb up or anything else, anything like that. You do want to do that. And if you have ants, if you're worried about ants crawling up from your base, you can also do, they're called ant moats, like these little square things that go on the bottom of your uh, colony legs, and then it has a little water in there. So when they climb up, they're not going to be able to go that way. They're going to go down and get killed in that moat because there's some type of, I guess you do water or type of. Let me know. I really don't know what you put in there, but that's kind of the process. I'm sure you probably could put apple cider vinegar, maybe something like that, or something like that is probably what most beekeepers use. We kind of already got into this, but reduce your hive size. You want to remove unnecessary boxes and reduce your entrances. You want to consolidate bees into fewer boxes if the population is too small. So if you're wondering what standard do I need to do this in, so let's say if you have 2 frames of bees, 3 frames of bees, or you don't have to, but if it's a real small colony, if you have like 3 frames of bees and a double deep, it's okay if you want to take that deep off. It's just a lot of space. But I still do think it'd be okay if you left it on, because the hive doesn't really work like our house would, where the heat stays in there, maybe to some extent, but the bees cluster together to body to body to make heat. So, you do want to consolidate the boxes into fewer boxes if those populations are smaller. Because I actually overwintered a 3-frame, 2-frame colony in a single, in a 10-frame box. So you're fine to do that. But it might be advised to just, put them in a 5-frame nuke. It might be a little bit more smaller and easier to manage, maybe, Remove extra supers, empty or partially filled to prevent pests. Add entrance reducers, which is pretty big thing to help bees defend against robbing. Check for cracked lids, warped boxes, or leaky seams and repair. Make sure y'all smash the like if you haven't already. Then we'll be getting into just some regular updates and stuff after this. So make sure y'all stay with me here, because we'll get into some other stuff later, some more fun stuff. I guess if that type of stuff. But you do want to prepare for cold and moisture. Winterize the hive against cold and condensation. So you can tilt hives slightly so moisture drains out. Provide ventilation, upper entrance, notch and inner cover, or a quilt box. Secure lids and add straps or weights to prevent wind damage. And in very cold climates, consider wrapping your hives or using insulation boards. And timeline and action plan, which I honestly believe is the biggest. So this is basically just having a plan for the timeline of your season. So you're going to have to, if you've been a beekeeper for a while, you know what I mean? Planning out how your season usually goes and kind of timeline it out, and you can put those plans to action that you have. So for most people, now late August through September, inspect hives, check food stores, treat for mites, and control beetles. In October, consolidate boxes, install mouse guards, and finalize the feeding. And in November, you can stop feeding liquid syrup, switch to solid feed, fondant, candy boards if needed. Reduce inspections to avoid chilling. For me in November, usually it's somewhat warm in November, so I can continue inspecting as long as the temperature is above 65 Fahrenheit, but usually I don't get into them much in November. October and September is when I'm usually in them. And again, everything depends on your on you. I apologize for the misspelling. Oh my goodness. Everything depends on you, climate. I'll apologize about that, y'all. I was in a rush to make this, but everything does depend on your climate. So there's your key takeaways. What you do in September sets the stage for how your bees will handle the long month of winter, the season of winter. Colonies that enter fall with plenty of workers, a healthy queen, and strong food reserves, have the best chance of making it to spring. This is a time to evaluate your hives, make tough decisions if a colony is too weak, and also get ahead of issues like varroa mites and trap small small hive beetles before the cold weather. Remember, bees don't grow stronger over winter. They only survive on what they have going into it. I believe that is about it of the presentation. So thank you all for joining that part of the live stream. We are going to continue going and talk about a lot of different things. I really do apologize. Let me go through these comments. I see Brian Grayson. You need to get you some Russian honeybees. Yeah, I don't really know if they were pure Russian bees, but I do believe I've had them before. I do need to get some more. I mainly have Italians right now, and I love them, but I would like to start implementing some different genetics in my apiary. It would have been honestly kind of cool to kind of see how these other genetics would work and kind of compare them to what my Italians do. I hear Russians are good for honey production, which I could really benefit from if I want to sell honey and all. Hey, at Lambrook Farm, thank you so much for joining in. We have Lisa, Grammy's midwife in Homestead. She is in Ozark, Alabama, so another Alabama beekeeper. We have a whole bunch of fun things starting to go on. A lot of things going on right now. Bees, we are getting into this time fall. It's awesome. Today was just an unbelievable day. It was so nice and pretty. It was unbelievable. To me, it just felt so nice. I mean, it was still around 90 degrees, but wind blowing, it just felt a little different. Really, really nice. And we also have, I don't know if y'all are into college football, but the football season is coming up very soon as well. So that's going to be very cool as well. On Saturday mornings, I love going out into the bee yard and then getting ready for football. It's my favorite thing. Richard says 3 weeks and 6 days till fall. Really nice. I haven't really kept up with it, but something like that. I think it starts in sometime in late to mid September. I'm going deep in here. I do not see anything else that needs to be mentioned. If y'all have any questions, feel free to put them in there. Y'all also make sure to click that thumbs up button. Also helps me out a lot. Oh, I missed it. Rewind, please. Sorry, Frank, I can't rewind it. But if you did miss it, I'm sure you're probably just joking. But if you did miss it, you can always catch the replay. It's pretty good, I think. I think some pretty good, decent tips I think will help all beekeepers. Glad you mentioned straps, as Tim and Hannah. Gotta check tie downs and count straps with hurricane season fixing to peak for us. Yep, hurricane season is about here, ain't it? I mean, it's around this time. I just don't keep up with the seasons, so I just know it's around this time where hurricanes are most active. So, that's another thing around this time of the year for most of us folks. You do need to watch out for hurricane season because that is a big issue. Hey, Jack and Danae, thanks for checking in. Pastor Larry and Miss Jan, thank you all. Thank you so much for joining in. So I do have like I said earlier, we have so much fun things starting to happen, and we're so excited for it. I'm sure most of us are. So what should I go to first? I guess I'm going to bring up what I'm working on right now. I'm just not sure if it's going to work, but I want you guys to give me some ideas and some things. I'll give you my kind of analysis of it. But so basically, I had a fellow beekeeper. He's actually a pastor down here. I think like 30 minutes away, and he, had some problems with his, arm, so couldn't get up a ladder. But anyway, had a hive in a church where it was in a window, kind of like a window panel, and then it goes up. So it's kind of in that kind of type of area. I'm about to show a picture in just a second. So all 20 of y'all on here, stay in here because I want y'all to tell me some ideas and what you think about this. So the pastor, his name is Charlie, so we call him Brother Charlie. And Brother Charlie, you see that little I can't really, that I guess you could call it a funnel. It's like wire, but basically the idea was to make a small hole where they'd be easy to come out and couldn't come back in, and they'd go into the swarm trap. But after it kind of, kept on going, I'm just not really 100% it's going to work. It's just, there's a little overlap right there on the center of it. Bees are starting to get stuck, get killed, and they're not finding a way out. Maybe some of them are, but they're just not really finding the way out. So it's doing the opposite of what it was kind of intended. You can see my nuke box. We're just trying it out, but I don't really 100% know if it's going to work. It's hard to get bees to do stuff. It's just hard to make them leave. And even if they all couldn't get back in their colony, they most likely probably wouldn't go into that nuke box. You probably wouldn't get the queen. Let me know your thoughts on it. It's just, it wasn't his idea. So, we figured we'd try it out. Not 100% sure. I was hoping it would work, but I really think the only way to get the bees out would be to open up the wall and get them with a bee vac. I would just really think. But anyway, that's kind of one thing we have going on. We're kind of working on it, saying about it. I mean, not 100% would be much, much easier. I'd have it done soon if we could just go into the wall. But I don't think the church wants that. If I could get in that wall, cut it up. If they were in a spot where I could get to, it'd probably be pretty easy for me to bring them back. We'll see. I'm not sure. So there's that. Kind of what we're kind of working on a little bit. I'm going to see what else do I need to mention that's been going on around here. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me bring this. Oh, I'm messing with stuff. I'm sorry. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Feel free to ask them. I'm trying to put my mic in a better location. Maybe y'all can hear me, hopefully, because you can hear the crickets in the background. If y'all have any questions, feel free to put them in there. Like I said, make sure to click that thumbs up button. It helps out a lot. So I do want to start giving some updates for the 3K, the 3,000 subscriber giveaway. I know y'all probably am excited once I do reach that to win some pretty cool giveaway prizes. I plan to give away a decent amount of prizes for you guys. So once I reach 3,000 subscribers, that's going to happen. Some updates about it. We're getting closer. I mean, I have, what is it right now? I think it's like 2,615 at the moment, at least. I don't know if it went down or up or anything, but that's kind of where it's at right now. So as long as we get there pretty soon, hopefully by the end of the year, I'm hoping, and then we can give away some cool prizes. I'm thinking it's going to be a lot of them. I'm not going to mention all of the prizes, but maybe some hive tools and stuff like that, and a lot more. But those are just kind of where we'll probably start out as. Grammy is the Pastor Charlie's last name Newman. That is right, Lisa. Charlie Newman, brother Charlie. Yep. I'm sure you probably know him. He's a preacher out there in what's the church name? I can't remember what the name was. We used to go to his church a while back, but just it's kind of far away, I believe. I think he does a different one, but it was just kind of far away. All right. Dennis, have you started feeding yet? I kind of have. I haven't fed individual colonies yet, but I have. I'm doing some open feeding, and I am doing some feeding on some colonies. I plan to get into it a lot more very, very soon, where I'm doing each colony individual. I'm doing open feeding to let them have some sugar syrup and prevent robbing. I've been pretty surprised how good August has been to me so far. Hopefully nothing changes, but it has been super smooth. It's just been nothing going on. I mean, I'd much rather nothing going on than a whole bunch of stuff going on. It's just kind of peaceful, easy, kind of gliding through August. Let's go on and get into September and October, and let's get into winter and come out I'm hoping I'm really hoping to come out with about 10 colonies. I have 13 right now, and to me, by the time winter comes, I really do think each colony can get through winter. You might have one or two or three not make it, but you know. Dennis, the humidity is down and it's nice outside now. Yes, Dennis, I really believe that's why today was a very nice day, because the moisture down here seems to be down a little bit. I can sense it in the air. It's not as high as it was, because I was looking at the temperature and I saw that it's pretty much the same it's been for the past couple of weeks, past couple of days, and yeah, I mean it's just kind of how it's going. I got distracted by Lisa's comment. I apologize, but yeah, the humidity is down. I can definitely tell. Spring Hill. All right, he is a distant cousin of mine and fellow beekeeper. Yep, he's a beekeeper, and my mom actually used to play at his church a while back, which is pretty cool. I don't remember when it was, but it was what, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, 6, 7, when we were younger and really didn't even, well, a little bug flew in my face. And where was I? I was talking. I always get distracted by small things. I apologize, but yeah, he's a good guy, and helping him out with that. Not 100% sure, but I'm hoping it can work. But if it don't, then we'll have to try something different, you know? I think the hole might be a little small, so I might have to open it up. The last, here, I'll pop up the picture. That's kind of what we have set up. That's Brother Charlie's kind of set up right there. As you can see, the little funnel trying to get the bees come out in that small hole and not be able to return. Like I said, not 100% on if it's going to work or not. I really believe it's like a 40 to 60% thing. I mean, you never know. Always could be, right? But if it, for some reason, doesn't work, you know, try something different, right? Always continue to the next thing, right? Honeybee Live, I don't really notice you, but thank you so much for joining in. We do these live streams every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Not every Monday night. Sometimes I take a break, but most times I do. Oh, I apologize, Keith. Thank you so much, Keith, for joining in. Keith Spillman, Half Tracks and Honeybees, there in North Carolina. So I really do believe that is about all the updates, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It just hasn't really been a whole lot going on here. That's why I've just been skipping my videos some. That's why I've been skipping live streams as well. It's just trying to, don't really have a whole lot to talk about. You know, so I mean, once we get into the fall, we'll get our goldenrod to come in, and then we can hopefully get some nectar coming on it. We don't have no nectar whatsoever, at least not yet. But we also do have a lot of pollen coming in, so I mean that's pretty good. I mean, at least we got pollen coming in. Just don't really have any nectar. But man, it's just been a wonderful evening here in southeastern Alabama. Really. How's y'all's weather, everybody? Here in the comments, wherever y'all may be. Hopefully everything's been good y'all's way past couple of weeks. I'm sure people's been busy with their bees as well, trying to get them prepped on up for the fall weather and getting into winter. Winter's just around the curve. We know that. Again, if y'all would, make sure to sting that like button if you haven't already. If you already did, thank you so much. If you have not, make sure to, don't forget to do it. I mean, it pushes the videos out. Cooling off your area? Yep, it's cooling off here as well, but I really do believe it's a lot to do with humidity. It might be, there might be more humidity tomorrow. I'm going to kind of see kind of what's going on. Feel it out, see if it's kind of a thing that would be consistent, or if it's just gonna be up and down. Some days where we have really low humidity, or there's days where it's up. I really believe that's a big reason why our heat is so bad is humidity. You know, and I was just so used to the hot weather. Today was just still hot, but was just unbelievably cooler than it really was. Same here. Wow. I guess everywhere it was unusually cool. Yeah. I mean, today was weird for me coming out here and feeling feeling the air. I mean, with the temperature, very kind of crazy to me. It's unusually cool. That's for sure. Hey, J3GS Farms. I do recognize you. I do not. I don't really remember your name, but I do recognize your channel. Thanks for checking in. Excuse me. Is there any questions in there? Anybody have any questions? If you have any questions, feel free to put them on in there. Like I said earlier, if you're on in here, we're getting ready for our 3,000 subscriber giveaway. And if you're wondering kind of what you have to do to win the prize once I reach 3,000 subscribers, all you have to do is subscribe and turn notifications on. That's all you got to do. And you're in there. And I would appreciate if you do subscribe to my email newsletter and some of, and what's the word, and maybe engage with the channel somewhat, if you would, kind of how you guys do in here in the comments. I would appreciate that, but, I can't force you, you don't have to, but always appreciate it. But if you want to win, all you have to do is subscribe, turn those notifications on, and whenever we do the live stream, you have to be in the live stream whenever it goes. You have to be in the live stream. If you're not in the live stream, then we're gonna respin. So good evening, Fancy Pants Glass. Thanks for sharing. It's a cool day here in western Pennsylvania. Wow, nice. It's cooler down here too. I mean, it's unbelievably cool. I don't know about Pennsylvania for y'all. I'm not really sure what y'all's humidity is and what mine is. Of course, everybody has really different climates. It's beekeeping resolves around climates to me. But yeah, it's been a cool day for everybody. Seems like. Hey, Philip Morris, RTX Honeybees over there in Texas. I believe that's where you're located, Philip. Thanks for checking in. How's the temperatures in your area, Philip? Today, for me at least, I don't know about everybody else, but for me and a lot of people here in the chat, was a pretty cool day today. It was really nice. So I guess for me this week is gonna be, I don't really know what this week's gonna be in store for my bees. I'm gonna be inspecting more. I inspected some today and they're really looking good. Really happy with them. But I do want to move one of my nukes from a pro nuke into a hard nuke. Did I take a picture? I wish I did, but there's a video of it. It'll be coming out one day. But I moved. If y'all remember, if y'all keep up with the channel regularly, you'll know I had a pro nuke. I had nowhere to put them. It was on top of one of my ever colonies. And you'll be thinking, Grayson, what are you doing putting a nuke on top of a never colony? But I eventually got them moved. I think they're figuring it out. That new little location. I don't have any stands up yet, so I just set out kind of like a box, like a deep box, and put it where it's going to be not knocked over. And I plan to do some other stuff to make sure it doesn't get knocked over. That's the setup for the next couple of weeks until I get a stand up and it's permanent, right? That's kind of what's going on right now. Want to move them into a wooden nuke. I do not like overwintering in pro nukes. I've tried that before in a plastic nuke. Not really ideal. So I'm going to move them to a hard wooden nuke. Pretty sure they're not going to be going into a 10 frame box this year, but they'll stay nice and strong in that 5 frame nuke, the 5 frame wooden box. XA Gardens, hello. We have 21 folks on here tonight. If you're checking in, make sure you click that thumbs up button. Look, when you're watching my live streams, the only thing I really ask y'all to do is just to hit that like. That's really what helps these live streams out a lot, is liking it. I don't know, something to do with it. I mean, seems like the more likes it gets out to more people or something like that. I don't know. It's just kind of how things work. And hopefully people will come here and maybe these September tips will help them out some way. It was pretty hot here today, around 98. I think still 94. Oh wow, it is still pretty warm in your location. Yeah, I kind of figured so. Look, I will say this. Today still felt hot. It still felt like summer, but it felt much cooler. A much cooler summer for some reason down here. Anyone putting on their Formic Pro yet? I don't use Formic Pro, so I can't speak for. But if anybody else out there uses Formic Pro, put that in there. So I was kind of talking in my presentation about. Let's see. I might have missed a lot, so you need to answer if you've already talked about it. No worries. I mean, I'm fine with talking about it, but so I do want to ask y'all this: when we're talking about treatments. When we're talking about these treatments that we use chemicals inside the colony, I've used Apigard before. I mentioned earlier that I wasn't 100% sold on it for me. Might have been wrong temperatures, but let me know what I could have done wrong. Tell me what I might have done wrong to, I don't know, it might be a coincidence, but it seemed like whenever I put my Apigard on, when I put it on, right around that time, so many of my colonies lost their queen, and a colony also lost their queen over winter. So does Apigard have an effect on queens? Does it make it? Do they make them die or something? Is there something to that, or because I've talked to some other beekeepers, they said that they've heard about that before, the same type of thing I was kind of experiencing. So that's why I've never used it since, because I want to be sure that doesn't happen again. I'm just being cautious. I don't want to lose queens. It was the worst time to lose queens was late fall going into winter. So that's why I had to combine one of them. And they're doing good right now, really good. So let me know, y'all have any experience with that, if you've heard anything. Not sure. That's why I've just been holding off. I think I still have a whole box of Apigard. If I knew exactly what I might have done wrong, I need to go back and look at the label, but there could have been some things I've done wrong that made it kill. It might have not been the treatment itself, might have been something due to me neglecting something on there about that. I've heard about that too, about the Formic Pro. I've heard about Formic Pro losing queens, but I haven't had issues so far. That's a good thing. I'm glad you haven't had any issues. I've heard about Formic Pro about losing queens, and I haven't used it, so I can't really speak on it. Apigard, I hadn't heard of that, but it could have been the hive already having issues. That is, I've thought about that too as well. It could have been a problem with the queen. Could the queen have been not healthy? That's a really good explanation as well. Or because I really wonder if it might have just been a coincidence that I had some problems with some queens and they just ended up not making it, or if it could have been something to do with it, or a coincidence. Look, I'll never know. I mean, I guess I can speculate and, think about it, kind of like what a lot of people do when they're getting ready for a college football game. You don't know what's going to happen. You just don't really know. I guess similar things, but we never know. It's just Just a kind of idea. I honestly don't think it was the Apigard, and not 100% sure, but I really do think it could have been just a problem beforehand, and multiple of my queens died, and maybe it was just some weird coincidence, you know. But hey, that's in the past now. I have 13 colonies; they're all doing well. Haven't had any issues so far. I've heard of Apigard, but not queens dying. Get you? Queen safe oxalic acid. Yep, oxalic acid's pretty good as well. I want to get one of those oxalic acid vaporizers. I'm so worried about doing oxalic acid. LOL. I feel like you have to be a pro to use that. Yep. Yep. I know what you mean. There's a little bug. Yep. I don't use oxalic acid. I haven't. I do want to get into it and use it. And I've heard a lot of good things about it. Not sure if I would do dribble or if I would maybe do a vaporizer. I'm thinking if I were to lean towards one, it'd probably be the vaporizer. It is getting pretty dark, as y'all can see. You can still see some light right there. For me, I can't see it, but it's pretty cool how this camera will pick up some of that light. It's really, really cool. It looks a little bit more darker than it does on camera. It still is kind of dark. If y'all would, make sure y'all click that thumbs up button. I always appreciate that if you haven't already. Helps out the video. So that's pretty much what's going to be going on this week. We're just kind of ramping up for September. We're getting ready to for winter. I mean, winter's coming before we know it. Good to be prepared rather than not prepared, right? So now I've talked about a lot about what I'm doing. What are y'all doing? What's y'all's plan? Or what's y'all's plans to do for the next couple weeks? Your studio looks great, Grayson. Thank you, Keith. Hey, look, it's the beautiful outdoors. You can't really get anything better. You know? That's why I did it tonight. I think I'm going to start doing it more outside. It's just more refreshing. I like doing it inside, don't get me wrong. I just feel like these chats do much better outside. I don't know if it's just me or if it's y'all. I just feel like it's just much better outside because you can get a sense of the nature. You can get a sense of the wildlife, Not just bees, but everything, The circle of life, right? That's right. No fake background, right? It's all natural. And look, you see that dog behind me? That's also natural as well. It ain't AI. It's real. It's pretty dark here in central New Hampshire. Yep, I do find that kind of cool how sometimes here it's like dark and some places it's like really bright, and then for some places it's really darker than it is here. Also, it's crazy how people have hundreds of hives. I'm exhausted with all 5 of my hives, so props to y'all who do this full time. Same here. I'll give props to all those beekeepers who run hundreds of hives as well. I've thought about that all the time, and yeah, it's something that they can do. It's tough running 13 colonies alone, No AI. Yep, no AI. It ain't AI. Live from the yard. Yep, you're right. Live from the yard. That's one thing I also really want to do, one of these live streams where I'm kind of sitting out in the bee yard with the bees flying everywhere, sitting out there and talking. And, without I probably would put on a suit because bees are flying everywhere. Even if they're not intentionally trying to come for you, those bees are used to going everywhere in that spot without you. They might come at you and hit your hair. If you don't know, the little bee's hair will get stuck to your hair and it will just get all stuck in there. That's why whenever the bees get into your hair, that's why they get stuck. Their hairs get stuck to your hair. Kind of cool. But I do want to do that where I'm getting out there into the bee yard and maybe get on some seaweed, and maybe sometime we'll get into some hives live and just have fun doing that. Same here, Keith. It's pretty much the exact same thing. I mean, that's pretty much what's going on here. It is really boring. That's the thing, though. I mean, it's been really smooth all the way. I can't complain about it, though. I mean, it's been pretty smooth. It's been surprisingly, August has been smooth. Usually, in the past 2 years, August has been my decline, kinda. At least, especially in 2023. In 2024, I had some problems in fall. But also in August last year, I just didn't think last year was the year. I just don't think. I went in with 6, but I did have a lot more. Here's what I'm trying to do. If you're wondering exactly what my goal is, the number one goal for me is sustainability. That's it. Just to sustain a number. It's hard. Building bees is easier than sustaining them, but that's what I'm working at. Treatment. Looks like Keith's treatments are done. He's doing some inspections, brood/food, waiting for the goldenrod to bloom, getting the lady set up for a strong fall. Yep, same here. I'm trying to get my girls strengthened on up. Goldenrod I'm waiting for the goldenrod as well. I actually thought I saw some. I don't know if Lisa is still in here, but I know in that area, I actually did in that local area, not the exact spot, but in Ozark and somewhere around the area. But I thought in the corner of my eye when going down the road, I thought I saw some goldenrod. Let me know kind of if y'all's goldenrod's blooming, but I'm pretty sure I saw a little bit of goldenrod, not a whole lot. Is that a beetle? I saw a little circle thing, and I swore it looked like a hive beetle. If it is a hive beetle, these things follow me everywhere. not literally, but they want to come. Let's see here. Let me look. Looks like a beetle to me. Not sure. How do you avoid bees swarming during treatments? Mainly for forming pearl. My hives are very strong, and I've been feeding heavy, so they are always trying to make queen cells. Yep, that's a problem every beekeeper has to deal with. I've tried it too. They have plenty of room. Yep, plenty of room. Here's the thing. I've always looked at it. Bees are just going to do what they want to do. It's kind of impossible to prevent it 100%. So to avoid during your treatments, that's another thing. If you definitely want to keep those bees from swarming, that's for sure, right? So I guess I don't know exactly what you're wanting to do. I guess you could do some splits, but it is kind of late for splits. So I wouldn't really want to do splits this time of the year. Luckily, my colonies aren't in that type of situation where they're wanting to swarm. We're in a dearth. I think they don't want to swarm. Their main focus, I think, is rearing on up, getting ready for winter. That's what I think. That's why they haven't really. That's what they're doing. So you probably do the Damari method type split, or you also, you can manually go in there and smash those queen cells, but they're gonna make them back up if they're a strong colony. They have room. Look, sounds like they're just I guess they'll swarm. Bees will do what they want to do, I guess. Oh, did you notice that queen cells are typically empty? Well, that's a good thing. Well, here's one thing I will mention that those queen cells that you see are empty. Good chance those are queen cups. Look, they make them all the time. I see them all the time. I look in there for little larvae, and there's nothing in there. They usually make those queen cups for preparing to swarm for the long distant future. They usually make these in spring, but they also can do it this time of the year as well. It happens. I see it all the time. I've had colonies swarm this time of year as well. I hate it when they do it. I don't like it this time of the year. It's way too late. I mean, it is what it is, but I'd much rather decide not to swarm. Oh, the goldenrod is budding, but not blooming yet. The rattleblocks are blooming, and they are yellow. Yeah, maybe that's what I saw on the edge of the room. Might have been that rattlebox. Nice. Queen cups, they just testing their eyes. That's right. I guess we'll get close to wrapping it up here in a second once we hit 8 o'clock. So let me before y'all exit out yet, I'm not done yet, but I do want to do this real quick. You don't have to, but I would appreciate it. If you don't know, I actually have a email subscription newsletter that I have, and where you can sign up and you get notifications, and I'll send out emails with my live stream. If you're wondering if you want to get a heads up, make sure you're here. I'll leave the link right here. You can press that link and go into another tab, and that is the subscription thing, and you can subscribe to it if you would. A lot of you have already subscribed. I appreciate all of you. Wow, thank you, Exit Gardens. Thanks for all you do. Thank you. I mean, I couldn't do everything I do without y'all. I appreciate the beekeeping community and everything they support. I try to support all the content creators out there. It's hard. It takes some time to watch videos, but I always enjoy it. Enjoying watching the videos. If I try to watch as many beekeepers as I can. It's hard because people are uploading all the time. So if you're a content creator out there, there's a good chance of watching your content. I enjoy it. I enjoy you guys watching my content as well. Continue to grow, continue to build up my bees. This channel is here to showcase what I'm doing, hopefully help some beekeepers in the process, but mainly to show what I'm doing. I do how I do and how to both kind of combine, and I really do enjoy it. It's a very good pleasure for me to be on here and do stuff. So I guess if you're on your way out, make sure to click that thumbs up button. Don't forget to do that. It helps my videos out a lot. Share the live stream out. I also appreciate that. If you want to enter the 3,000 subscriber giveaway, subscribe with notifications on. You're in. And if you would like, make sure to subscribe to the email newsletter. I will have that newsletter and put out stuff, updates of the live stream, the giveaway, all that good old stuff. Well, I guess that's about it. Today was a very beautiful day. Thank you all so much for joining in. I do see you, Lisa. Hey, all Alabama beekeepers. The State Fall Conference is September 19th through 20 in Clanton, Alabama. Awesome, Lisa. Thanks for putting that in there. That's good. Looks like she and Bruce are doing classes. That's awesome. We'll see if we can make it down. I'm not 100% sure. Might be busy during that time this upcoming fall. We'll see. But like I said, we're getting ready for the fall season. Also getting ready for football. I enjoy football. I'm a Roll Tide fan, so Roll Tide to all those people who are Roll Tide fans out there. Thank you all for watching. It's very nice out here. I appreciate you guys supporting, subscribing, and everything like that. I'm gonna not ramble too long, but I do appreciate y'all. So without further ado, good night, everybody, and have a fantastic evening.